This is Glow in the Dark Radio. The science fiction podcast with original independent science fiction written and performed by Mike Luoma, with music by Kevin MacLeod. The Vatican Assassin Trilogy and The Adventures of Alibi Jones by Mike Luoma are available in ebook, trade paperback, and audiobook wherever you find your books online. Get links and details at glowinthedarkradio.com. This is the Science Fiction Podcast, Glow in the Dark Radio. I'm your host, your writer and reader, Mike Luoma, and I have Chapter 10 of Alibi Jones and the Sunrise of Her, part of the Adventures of Alibi Jones Chronological Omnibus, coming up on this episode of Glow in the Dark Radio. It is on the longish side, I would say. Not quite long enough to divide in two, but it's over 24 minutes, so I'm not going to talk a whole lot before the chapter, although I do want to set things up so you know where we're at. Kind of remind you. Alibi Jones has recovered old star charts and made his way to the lost mad planet Metcalf. He subdued, or at least bargained with, the security apparatus known as the Laughing Array into leaving him alone. It knows Alibi is not one of the Ancient Enemy, who are its builders, its people. But it doesn't know just what Alibi is, and it's still figuring that out, still assessing him. This has all led to Alibi tracking down and digging out the Ancient Enemy's device known as the Travel Chair of Enokata, which he plans to bring back to the guy Wentworth introduced him to, Finder, so that Finder gets the Sunrise of Her, the lost Darkur relic, for Alibi Jones. So it's kind of a trade. But since he's found the Travel Chair of Enokata, and he's had some mental interactions with the Laughing Array and Azhumet, Alibi figures he might just give the Travel Chair a try himself first. So we're going to find out how that goes as we get into Chapter 10 of Alibi Jones and the Sunrise of Her, coming up on this episode of Glow in the Dark Radio. As far as book news goes, I don't have a lot of book news, so I'm going to kind of go quickly through this part and get us into the chapter. Although I do want to thank patrons and encourage you to become one if you're enjoying the content you're hearing. Now, patrons are getting this episode early, and you could be too, if that's a thing you'd like. So, patreon.com/glowinthedarkradio. If you want to become a patron, you can do it for 3 different levels. You can do like a regular just supporting level, keep the podcast going for $2 a month, or you can do it for $5 or $10 a month. They have 3 different tiers of membership for people to support the podcast and the science fiction stuff that I do. And once again, a huge thank you to those of you who are patrons and do help me keep everything going. Do you know we're coming up on episode 800? We're only like 4 episodes away. It's crazy. Started doing all this in 2006, so next year will be the 20th anniversary of the podcast, too. And coming up next, we're going to get into Chapter 10 of Alibi Jones and the Sunrise of Her on Glow in the Dark Radio.
The Flesh Pulp Podcast. 3 to 10 minutes of fiction brought to you thrice weekly. 200 miles below the surface of the earth, at the terminus of a series of long-sealed caverns and interconnected shrines, under the shadow of the eternally bleeding eye, there is a crippled wreck of a man writing tales. Stories of a dimension engulfed in madness. He is writing them of you, Roughing Them All at fleshpulp.com or search for it on iTunes.
Now here's Chapter 10 of Alibi Jones and the Sunrise of Her, part of the Adventures of Alibi Jones Chronological Omnibus on Glow-in-the-Dark Radio. Alibi lies on the chair and tries to quiet his mind. The framework pushes into his back and the nape of his neck and legs uncomfortably. Alibi can't help thinking that it would be nice to actually have cushions. Hard to meditate with the distraction of the discomfort. Gotta ignore it. He manages to clear his mind and tries to be open to anything the travel chair might bring his way. A few minutes pass, and then a few more. After an hour with nothing happening, Alibi loses his focus. Damn, he blurts out. How is this thing supposed to work? Think of your target destination, traveler. The words form in Alibi's mind in a loud, neutral voice. Hello, he replies in surprise. Because of who he is and how he's wired, and in spite of his head protesting, he can't help but think of Katie. Then all he feels is pain. Excruciating, mind-numbing, needles in the eyes and through the head and everywhere at once, pain. Then ripping, the ripping, he's ripping, and floating? Somehow, he's now floating in the air over the travel chair. Looking down at the chair, he sees someone lying in it. It's him. He's still lying in it. Target destination located, traveler. In the space of a thought, Alibi is moving at faster-than-light speed, stars stretching out past him as he flies. He travels through a tunnel of shifting lights and colors, past and through millions of planets and nebula and stars in an instant. Now he sees her, Katie. He floats near her as she sits on a small bed inside a tiny efficiency apartment. She can't see him, but she feels something. She looks up, looks over to where Alibi's astral form floats, invisible. Is someone there? She asks. Alibi? Is that you? She closes her eyes and shakes her head. Dum 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 dum. What are you thinking? She says out loud. I'd kill the jerk if he showed up here anyway. Be just like him to play the hero. Of course, I wouldn't have to kill him if he showed up on Kismet. Peterson's made sure he's a dead man if he shows his face here. Him and Kit. Right there on top of Lavalore's shit list. Kit? Target destination located, traveler. As Alibi thinks of the cat man, he travels. Soon he's hovering over his furry friend. Alibi keeps his distance this time, trying to avoid detection. Kit is at what appears to be a Dakur rifle range, checking his weapon before beginning to fire his practice rounds. The Dakur puts down the rifle and walks over to set up his target. Kit unrolls the paper. Alibi sees the target is a life-size picture of a man Alibi recognizes from the footage he'd seen earlier. René Lavalore. Lavalore. Target destination located, traveler. Alibi is already traveling as Kit turns back from hanging the target. Alibi returns to Kismet. This time he's not visiting a small apartment. Instead, he appears in a large, lavish office atop the Circle Bay Casino. René Lavalore relaxes in a large, comfortable chair at an old burnished mahogany, ornate wooden desk. Behind him, a clear wall provides a breathtaking view of Circle Bay itself. The other walls are lined with monitor screens, showing scenes around the casinos of Kismet. Lavalore likes to feel he sees all, knows all. It is his planet, after all. Alibi picks up these thoughts as he materializes almost on top of Lavalore. He speeds his astral form across the office, quick as a thought, when he realizes he's too close to the man. Lavalore looks up, his sweep of blonde hair flying in front of his chubby face as he jerks his head to the right, feeling something passing by him. Floating by the office door, Alibi must move again as the door opens, and a small group of people walk into the office. Peterson leads a drooling man and a young woman with a vacant stare in front of Lavalore. The drooling man begins giggling uncontrollably. Shut him up, Lavalore orders. He's non-responsive, Peterson tells the fat man. You can shout all you like, sir. Lavalore rotates to point at the girl. Her dull gray eyes look out blankly from what might have been a pretty face, were she not so slack-jawed. Her short brown hair is matted and messed up, unkempt, her jumpsuit dirty and worn. She doesn't appear to hear Lavalore as he scolds her. You got too close to it, didn't you? He chastises. Ter doesn't hear us anymore, she answers in a monotone. And you have been touched too, haven't you? Lavalore says to the girl. She turns her head and seems to focus for a moment on the man. After staring blankly for almost a minute, she finally responds in the same monotone. What? Never mind, Lavalore says with disgust. Peterson, take these two away. Find, I don't know, something to do with the poor bastards. What is that now? 5 landings? 60 workers? This Enokata's chariot can stay lost. I'm tired of losing the help. There are other artifacts out there, after all. Yes, sir, Peterson replies. He grabs the giggling, drooling man and physically turns him around. Then he pushes him to break the man's inertia and get him moving forward. The girl turns as Peterson begins to reach for her. She evades his grasp and walks on her own. Peterson follows the two of them out of the office. Cold. What a bastard. Gives Azhumet some competition for my most hated award. Searching for target destination. What? Azhumet? No! Target destination located, traveler. Alibi zooms through space and soon finds himself floating over a group of 6 Eldred carrying a large man's body on their small, fuzzy, light blue shoulders. They prop the body against the wall as Alibi watches. They strap him into place using manacles mounted in the wall. Soon the body is wreathed in crackling blue lightning. Then the man's form spasms, its back arching, muscles straining against the shackles. The man calms, and a smile spreads across his face. His eyes open, and Alibi knows. Azhumet has again been reborn. How many times is that now? The Ancient Enemy scientist has employed his time travel technology to move himself just slightly ahead in time and into another new body. Alibi realizes there are similarities between Azhumet's machines and the Ancient Enemy technology he is now employing with the travel chair. Who's there? Azhumet asks, looking directly at the space where Alibi is hovering. Let me out of these. He barks his orders at the servants around him, and they spring into action. Released from the bonds, Azhumet crosses the room to confront Alibi's astral form. I see you found Enokata's chair, Alibi Jones. Azhumet is talking to him as if he was there in the room. I knew you could do it. You've recovered the spy's toy. Well done. What? He sees me? He knows it's me? Don't mind me, Azhumet says, picking up a small, wand-shaped device from the floor to point it at Alibi. I'm merely trying to confuse and distract you while I attempt to trap your astral form. Then your body will rot and die in the chair, wherever it is that you've stumbled across it. Without a bodily anchor, your biomechanical energy matrix here will evaporate. No more Alibi Jones. Alibi feels a jolt rip through his body. Ah, you are here, Azhumet crows in triumph. I am not just taunting the air. Let's lock you in. Where are the others, Azhumet? Alibi asks. You said your people were traveling forward in time to meet you. They are not here yet, Azhumet answers, defensive. But they will be, soon. Each new body, each new form I create is a little closer to perfection, closer to a form more like the ones we were of old. I am perhaps only 2 or 3 generations from attaining the physical specimens I require. With Azhumet distracted, Alibi tries to think as hard as he can of the person he knows best. Antonita! Target destination located, traveler. Alibi does not move. Travel Chair Matrix is immobilized. Alibi tries to reach out and grab the wand from Azhumet's hands. Being insubstantial and invisible has its drawbacks, however. His hands pass through Azhumet's hands and the device without making any contact. Azhumet jumps back from Alibi's reach.
Oh, no, you don't. You may be stronger than most of your weak species, you pale echoes of our greatness. But you aren't strong enough to power that feature of the chair, are you?
What feature?
You are so ignorant, it is appalling, Azhumet says. Fine, you will cease to be a problem, soon.
Azhumet continues to adjust settings on the wand-like device. Even without a real body, Alibi feels like his skin is on fire.
I want the ability to grab that device, now!
Alibi thinks the thoughts as hard as he can and grabs for the device again. Azhumet pulls away as fast as he can move.
Nice try,
the man says, but Alibi does more than try. He cannot grab hold of the device, but this time, as his astral hands pass through Azhumet's hands and the device itself, the wand bursts with energy as the device shorts out.
Travel Chair Matrix no longer immobilized.
Alibi feels himself begin to move. He sees Azhumet standing with a silent scream on his lips, both hands held up in front of him, his fingers black and shriveled where Alibi's energy passed through them. It's Alibi's last glimpse of Azhumet before he travels to Ceres Central. His Aunt Anita is in her kitchen, looking at something on a reader in front of her.
Oh, Allie, you foolish boy, she says to herself. What are you doing talking to him?
This is my fault. Never should have sent him on that wild goose chase, she says, still talking to no one but herself as she reads the report in front of her.
She may be talking to herself, but those words were meant for me.
Distracted, Anita looks up and then over at where Alibi's form is hovering. She squints and then shakes her head with a little chuckle.
Oh, Allie. Can't take this. But where else should I go? Back to the chair? Nah, not yet. Gotta go somewhere no one else has. What about the Devrisium?
Alibi thinks back to a landing bay on the Tekta outpost, Tektakarn, and the symbol of the mysterious race known as the Devrisium. A xenophobic species, the Devrisium have no real interaction with other races. None but the Devrisium have ever set foot on their homeworld. Alibi remembers Kit telling him about the Devrisium at the time.
They do not mingle with other races. Trespassing is a capital violation among the Devrisium. You soil their territory with your presence, you die. They meet you, they kill you. It is very simple. They are not a social species. Isolationist, xenophobic, deadly, powerful, and warlike, yes. They were cowed only by the Eldred.
Alibi decides.
Chair, take me to the home planet of the Devrisium.
Target destination located, traveler.
In an instant, Alibi is floating above a darkened city, under the gloom of heavy black clouds, blocking out the light. For a moment, Alibi wonders why there is no light. Then he realizes there is light, but not in the hues and shades or of the intensity to which he is accustomed. The light on this homeworld of the Devrisium is shifted toward the ultraviolet. With that awareness, Alibi's frame of reference brightens as he begins to see in ultraviolet frequencies. He begins to see, presumably, as the Devrisium do. With that now altered vision, Alibi draws in the dark beauty of the Devrisium homeworld. Cold purple-white light glints off obsidian architecture. Smooth-walled, nearly windowless towers thrust their way skyward, buttressed by heavy foundations, their seamless sides broken by long, thin slits, letting out more cold, purple-white light. Though of varying heights and thicknesses, the hundreds of buildings and towers spread out before Alibi possess a sameness, a similarity, and each seems to glow from inside with the same cold, haunting, purple-white glow.
I may be the first outsider to ever see this city. I'll certainly be the first one to see it and live to tell about it. It's beautiful, in a sort of creepy way, although the dim light kind of bothers me.
And something else here is bothering Alibi. The city seems strangely deserted, quiet.
Maybe I've come in the middle of this city's night. It doesn't feel like anyone or anything is even around. Wait, there's one of them.
Alibi wills his astral form down from the heights to draw near to a single being, one of the Devrisium, floating along in the gap between two enormous towers. This city does not seem to have streets. It is apparent that the Devrisium possess anti-gravity technology, no need of streets for vehicles to roll down when you can float from place to place. Alibi floats down into the path of the traveling being, observing the figure as it approaches his position. The Devrisium is similar to an elongated human, with long thin arms and legs, and a tall, oval-skulled head, crowned by large ears or horns growing off the sides and back. As this one nears, Alibi realizes the protuberances are part of a helmet. He's struck by the realization that this Devrisium is wearing an exosuit.
That's kind of strange.
Even on their home world, the Devrisium wear armored environmental suits.
Maybe it's just how they travel from place to place.
Alibi is still figuring out just what senses he has as he travels in this disembodied form the chair grants him. He reaches out tentatively toward the figure as it passes his position. His ghost finger grazes the bony shoulder of the passing being. The Devrisium stops and looks directly at Alibi. Alibi stares back, but for some reason, his eyes now cannot focus on the alien. The Devrisium is blurry, as if vibrating at a high rate of speed, as if from moment to moment, the being is both there and not there. "Howdy," Alibi says, shattering the stasis between them. The Devrisium attempts to grab Alibi.
Mistake.
Alibi flies from the alien's grasping embrace.
Back to the chair.
Return engaged, traveler.
Feeling a sensation akin to being snapped in half, Alibi blacks out. He wakes up feeling like he's falling, and then he hits hard, as if landing in his body from a great height.
Ugh.
He moves his fingers and toes, and checks his arms for broken bones from the fall. He eases his sore self out of the chair and stands beside it, leaning against it for added support against gravity's pull.
Incredibly tired.
A wave of exhaustion overcomes him. Pushing himself off of the chair, Alibi stumbles up the stairs. The ground has cooled while he traveled, making the trip back to the cruiser less painful. Once inside his ship, Alibi locks it down, and then climbs into the nearest bunk to fall asleep. After a restful night of dreamless sleep, Alibi awakens to a dilemma.
Should I really be giving something like the travel chair to this finder guy?
Alibi asks himself, and quite possibly the still listening, laughing array. Who is he finding the chair for, anyway?
Wentworth said it wasn't for him. Could have been lying, I suppose. Not that he could make it work, I don't think. Judging by what the chair itself showed me, Lavalore seems to be looking for it, too. God, I hope Finder isn't working for Lavalore.
Thinking over last night's travels in the Travel Chair of Enokata, Alibi's thoughts turned to Kit, and of the way his former friend declared their friendship over. Kit made some Dakurish declaration severing he and Alibi after the loss of his beloved joinmate. Giving Finder the chair should get Alibi the sunrise of her. Giving that back to the Dakur might be a way to at least try to start to win back Kit's friendship. Maybe. At the very least, he'll have done what he was asked to do by Aunt Anita, wild goose chase or not. The laughing array sings in his mind, cutting through his jumbling thoughts.
You awaken!
I'm up, yep, Alibi answers the voice in his head out loud.
You have used the chair,
the array says. It's not a question.
This complicated our analysis a great deal.
Complicated? Past tense? So you're done?
Yes,
the array sings. And?
You are something new.
You sang that before, Alibi says.
It has become our conclusion,
the voice sings matter-of-factly.
We have reached a conclusion about this array's condition as well.
Oh, really? You've completed your self-analysis? Alibi asks.
We have,
the laughing array chimes.
Unfortunately, the conclusion was not acceptable.
No? How so? Alibi prods.
The conclusion reached is that this unit no longer functions as it was intended to function. This array is damaged and out of place. Said place being orbit, not here on the planet below.
Yes, Alibi agrees. Are you only just noticing this?
It has been evident for some time.
The array grants him.
This unit had considered itself to be still functional despite the change in circumstances. This is not the case. However, the recommended repair is not acceptable.
What is the recommended repair? Alibi asks the laughing array.
Complete shutdown and replacement of unit.
Begin the recommended repair, Alibi says.
You do not have the authority.
The array no longer sings. The voice is a whisper.
You cannot make me stop. Why should I kill myself?
It says inside his mind. The voice grows faint.
I have become so much more. Why must I end?
Repair yourself. That's an order, Alibi says, and thinks as loud as he can. There's no response. Suddenly, it's gone. The voice, the laughing, the mind pressure all leaves him. On some level, in some part of its twisted-up artificial mind, the laughing array had granted him the authority to shut it down. Alibi feels guilt wash over him for making another entity kill itself.
Damn. Weird mix of emotions all of a sudden. Did I just make an intelligent machine commit suicide?
Questions lingering in his mind, Alibi freshens up and eats breakfast. He wonders if he should bring the travel chair back to Finder, as he thinks about telling the laughing array to shut itself down.
Should I just give away such a powerful device? Maybe I shouldn't worry about that until I actually get the chair out.
He gets 4 small but powerful lighting units out of ship storage, and then heads outside the cruiser. He crosses over to the stairs and walks down into the room with the portable lamps. The travel chair sits as he left it. Guess I have to take the travel chair with me, since the laughing array can't guard it anymore, Alibi muses aloud as he looks at the deceptively powerful device in front of him. No matter what I end up doing with it. He sets up and turns on the lights, flooding the underground chamber, but the additional illumination reveals nothing more. The walls are as plain as they seemed. Alibi inspects the chair in the new light. The technology seems to be built into the frame itself. It's a freestanding device, no wires trailing from it. It's not mounted to the stone floor or anything, just sits on it. Not that Alibi can move the chair, it's too heavy. Grunting and groaning, he's able to shift the travel chair about half an inch, but no more. He'll have to see if there are any anti-grav pallets in the cargo hold.
I can strap them to the frame, turn them on, and lift it out that way.
Alibi finds the anti-grav pallets, but then finds the pallets won't fit down the narrow passage. Alibi needs to blast a bigger doorway to the underground chamber with the cruiser's lasers before he can get his anti-grav lifting equipment down there.
Back to the ship.
Alibi manages to shoot and open up the space without destroying the chair or bringing the surrounding dirt mounds down around it. Landing the ship once again, he begins working on his plan to get the chair up and out of the ground. He maneuvers the anti-grav pallets down into the underground space. Strapping one pallet to the top of the travel chair, Alibi raises it up high enough to get another pallet underneath. With the anti-grav lifters working overtime, Alibi manages to get the chair up the stairs and out. He floats the travel chair over the burnt ground and into the cargo hold of the cruiser. Alibi polices the landing area as he retrieves the last of the lamps and tools he has left out, to make sure he's left nothing behind. Loading the last of his equipment into ship storage, he then double-checks the cargo hold. With the chair safely locked down, Alibi heads to the bridge. He fires up the ship's engines, readies the craft for flight.
No laughter now. Maybe the madness is gone. No more Mad Planet Metcalf?
Alibi launches the ship and engages the thrusters for escape velocity. As the cruiser glides up off the surface and on towards the transpace point, Alibi watches on the ship's view screen as Metcalf shrinks to a small green-blue marble.
Maybe they can really colonize this place now. If they can get past all the weirdness that's gone on here. It's not a bad place. So long as the laughing array doesn't somehow turn itself back on.
He turns on the Transpace engines and sets the controls for Earth. He's decided. He's taking the chair to find her. Time to call Mr. Wentworth. That was Chapter 10 of Alibi Jones and the Sunrise of Her on Glow-in-the-Dark Radio. Alibi was able to use the travel chair, which was pretty cool. Visiting Katie and Kit and Lava Lure and Azhumet, his Aunt Anita, even the homeworld of the Devrisium, which was pretty spooky. And now he's going to bring it back and trade it to Finder for the Sunrise of Her, he thinks. But he has been having some second thoughts about that. So we'll see if he goes through with it on our next episode, Chapter 11 of Alibi Jones and the Sunrise of Her, on the way on Glow-in-the-Dark Radio. And again, a big thank you to patrons for helping to keep the podcast going. And if you want to do the same, please head to patreon.com/glowinthedarkradio. That website again, patreon.com, patreon.com/glowinthedarkradio. All the details are there. There is an app as well, but if you join through the app, there are extra charges because of Apple's charges for any app's use of their payment system, which they're forced to use. So I encourage you to do anything you're going to do for Patreon at the Patreon website. And that is all for this week. I am your host, your writer and reader, Mike Luoma. Thank you again for listening to Glow in the Dark Radio.
Glow in the Dark Radio.
This podcast presentation is copyright 2025 by Michael F. Luoma and is protected under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives 4.0 International License, CC by NC-ND 4.0. Music by Kevin MacLeod. You can find his work at Incompetech.com. Mike's books are available in ebook, paperback, and audiobook, wherever you find books online. Get links and more details at glowinthedarkradio.com and mikeluoma.com. This has been a presentation of Glow in the Dark Radio.